If you right now are working a 9 to 5, you have a nice salary, you take a couple of holidays a year, and you're like, things are good, but there is a niggle inside of you that is like, is there more to life? Explore it. The only person you are with for the rest of your life is yourself.
Yeah.
It's good to know what you do and don't like, what you do and don't want. When I say money is energy, I mean it in the way of it flows, it grows, it shifts. When we consciously or subconsciously hoard money and hold on to it, it blocks its potential for what it can actually do for us.
I think in America, the average successful business owner starts a business at 54.
That's crazy.
You're still learning. You're
Yes.
still a baby in real terms.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much ahead of you.
Saving and investing is important. Like, if you just spend everything and you're living paycheck to paycheck, you'll work forever, you'll be stressed, you'll have money worries, anything can happen at any point.
I have a non-negotiable 15% of like, I'm blowing this no matter what.
Yeah.
Like this month, it's going.
Love that.
The Money Gains Podcast. You know we arrived.
So Laura, welcome back to the Money Gains Podcast. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me back.
We got you solo today.
I know. A dream.
I literally,
Seriously.
it's all right. Like,
I miss him, of course.
yeah, I know, Timmy. Where are you? You
Where
usually
are
there. It's true. But I love chatting to you because you have a very different perspective about money that I don't think gets talked about enough, but actually, for me, is possibly the most important bit. And I'm a big fan of saying, like, it's all 80% is in your mind, and actually the 20% you can learn in 2, 3, 4 hours. But training your mind is how you actually end up getting to where you want to get to.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, getting successful is finding financial success starts with your mindset. And I think, like you say, whatever percentage it is, 80%, it is your money mindset is the foundation to your financial success. Understanding how your brain works, how you make decisions, being able to, be present and intentional with your money, your habits, your behaviors, it all comes down to how you think about money. So a lot of what I talk about is like helping you to think differently about money, because then everything else flows from that. You can change your behaviors, you can change your habits. And so many people, as we know, are in a position where maybe they're struggling to save, maybe they're in debt, maybe they're, overspending, and they've tried so many things. Oh, I've tried doing this, I've tried doing that, I've tried locking away money, I've tried putting my credit card in this drawer, I've tried a budget, but for some reason I can't X, Y, and Z. And when people then start to shift to be like, oh, it's my mindset that needs to change, that's what's going to have an impact on my behavior, that's when everything changes. And I think that's that's what I'm obviously trying to shout from the rooftops about.
Yeah, and you do a great job of it, because like you've changed a lot of the way that I think as well. And like it's nice to have a different perspective from somebody else and just sort of take the things that, because like personal finance is personal, man.
Yes.
Like what works for me, I take those small bits, I'm like, oh, that would be good for me because I'm bad at that.
Yeah.
And like then I put that into my own life, and I just kind of realize that I'm really shocking at organizing.
Yeah.
But I'm good at making money.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, if I spend a little bit more extra time on the organization part, then the money that I make is then doing more for me.
Yeah.
So it's like realizing those things about yourself, which we're going to unpack today because it's really, really important. But you said that money is energy in a recent podcast that I listened to. What do you mean by that?
So when I say money is energy, I mean it in the way of it flows, it grows, it shifts. It is something that we can utilize to, we can use it as a tool. And humans are the ones that attach meaning to money. But when we consciously or subconsciously hoard money and hold on to it, it blocks its potential for what it can actually do for us. And I think that when we can shift or reframe the way we view money and we can see it as energy, it needs to flow in, it needs to flow out. And flowing out doesn't just mean spending, it means investing, it means saving, it means, little areas, but really understanding that flow of money, not being afraid to spend, not being afraid to invest, all of those kind of things. That is where you have the best relationship with it. And I think it works best for you. And I think it sounds really woo-woo. People will be like,
is it woo-woo? But
I mean, I'm a big woo-woo person, right? In regards to like, I'm super spiritual, I'm super into all of that stuff. But I'm also very science heavy. I love the science behind the woo-woo.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it might come across woo-woo. Like, for example, when people say, oh, that's just a coincidence. When there's like an amazing synchronicity, you know, like you think of someone and then like 2 minutes later they pop up on your phone and you're like, oh, that's a coincidence. Whatever you call it coincidence, call it, you know, magical, call it, it's the same. It's okay, well, a coincidence is magical then, you know, like just because you've labeled it as something that's quite practical, but there is science behind things being energy, things being, you know, like we won't go really deep into it, but the energetic side of life and things that are form and not form, it's the same with money.
Yeah.
So it is woo-woo, but there's science behind it.
Yeah, there is. Like, and I listened to a podcast, there's a hypnotist guy, Paul someone, who was speaking on that Alan Carr's Life is a Beach, which is so funny, by the way. If you haven't seen that podcast, it really makes me laugh. But he was talking about this and he was saying that, yes, it's spiritual, but there is some facts to it. Like your brain has neurons in it, which will actively seek this out. Mm-hmm. So if you're believing that you're going to see that person, you're going to like subconsciously engineer a situation so that person does pop up on your phone or whatever that might well be. And that could just be like messaging a group that they're in, like without even thinking about it. And you're still thinking about that person. But then when it comes to money, you can engineer situations and improve situations just by subconsciously thinking about them and being intentional, right? Yeah. Like about the goals and your wins. And they call that manifestation, really, don't they? But I think, you know, people do think that's woo-woo, but it does work. Yeah.
I think that manifestation has a bad rap, but that's the same as any industry, anything. You always end up getting the people that are authentic and share and help, and then you have the people that take people for a ride, right? It's happened for years, and centuries with like psychics, right? I do believe that people can be psychic, but I also think that there are some people that say they psychic to get money from people, right? So then it gives people a bad name. But it's the same in like being a influencer. You have people that are doing it for the good because they want to help people. They're sharing good information. And then you also have people that go, oh, that looks like an industry I can get on board with. And if we think about, you know, manifesting, like the science behind it is like, quantum physics, but also this idea of that when you are manifesting something, it's getting clarity, taking action, and then putting, you know, being aligned with your life and putting energy out where good things come back to you. And I think that people, where it's got a bad rap is this idea that manifestation is like, think that you want something and it will just come to you. And it's like, no, you have to still go out there and take action. Like the example I was giving someone recently is, you know, the Wicked film?
Yes.
You know, with Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. Obviously, as we know, like Ariana Grande, she's very successful in her own right. She's had loads of different lives, different, you know, music that she makes, but she's always been like an actress and a singer. There is footage and clips and recordings of her from like the age of 8 being like, I want to be in Wicked and I want to be Glinda.
Yes.
Right.
She said this on Graham Norton the other night.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, she came out with it, yeah.
And the story is amazing because it's like she put out into the world, like she manifested that role, in my opinion. She put it out there. She took action. When she found out that, and this might have been said on the show, but when she found out that there was even a little inkling of the movie even getting made, 2 years before she even got like auditioned, she started preparing for the role. She got a voice coach. She started making sure her voice was up to scratch because obviously it's very big vocal range. She started getting like acting lessons back in so that she could tap into that world. Like that's the action behind the manifestation. If she was just like, I want to be Glinda, and then just like, you know, she was
sat home
and just sat home. Yeah. And I think that's where people and like go wrong. And I think if we apply this concept of manifesting money, where it can get dangerous is when people who are in really unfortunate financial positions, maybe there's been like economic abuse, you know, different like privileges or lack of privilege at play, all of the different things. And then you've got someone just going, you just need to manifest money. Yeah. And, you know, they're in a really awful position where they're like, I don't have the time, the resource, the access to education. You don't just, if I can just have it. You know, it's not that. It's the action and the clarity behind what you're doing. It's just that it's labelled up under the guise of manifestation. But like to give an example, like a real life example of what I'm experiencing right now, I came into this new year, not gonna lie, had a couple of deals fall through for the business. I didn't have as many like prospective things in the pipeline as I usually do at the start of January. And obviously you're like, is it something
What's
I've
going
done?
on?
What's gone on?
Yeah.
You know, and if I'm completely honest, I had the funnest 2024 and I wouldn't change a thing, but I didn't work as much as I quote unquote should have to get the results that I wanted, because you know, when you're working, there's a knock-on effect, isn't there? You know, what you do now will come to it compounds and it comes to fruition X months down the line. So I can look at last year and really see the role that I played in that. But anyway, I got to January and I was a bit like, you know, freaking out a little bit. All the thoughts start coming in. Should I get a full-time job? Am I going to have to do this? And then I was like, no, you've put in the foundation, you've put in the hard work. Think about what you want, get really clear, stop scattering yourself. And every day I've been writing in my journal. I am so grateful for the £20,000 that I made in my business in Q1 2025. When I first started writing it down, I was like, I feel kind of stupid because
how am I gonna get there?
I don't know where this is coming from.
Yeah.
And done all the other things, all the money mindset things, all the things that I preach to other people, I have been doing. I've had a routine, I've had rituals. Anyway, I've taken action. I've been so focused and on it. Now, as of whatever the date, you know, end of January, I'm about to hit about 16,000.
Whoa.
I know, for Q1.
What up, mate?
Thank you.
It's January.
I know. I'm
Yes,
like this.
mate.
Okay.
Yeah, hello.
What's going on?
Okay, so you manifested it to happen. You told yourself, so your brain is now believing it.
Yes.
But then the action is
It's
the
the
most
action.
important.
Because
Right.
really what I look at, you know, what I've done over the last couple of weeks, I have said no to things when normally I would have said yes, which has freed me up to sit in front of my desk and do some of the deep work. I've moved along projects that I didn't even move along at all last year. There were moments where I was so aligned with what it is that I got really clear with what I was calling in. And I didn't work myself to the bone. I allowed myself to be like, oh, I'm feeling the excitement and the energy of this, and ideas were coming to me. But I was also resting. One day I took a bath in the middle of the day because I was like, I'm not in the head zone to work.
I now do that as
You
well.
know?
Yeah.
And you have to be, but you have to listen to your body. So
100%.
it's not like tying productivity with outcome. It's tying listening to your body. And the times where I have done like 12-hour days, I have got to the end of the day and I'm like still energized. I'm like, oh my God, this feels exciting.
Yeah.
And then on the days where I'm like, I'm having one of those days, I think I need a minute, especially being a female or your hormones, I need a bath. The irony, the mood moved through me. A couple of hours later, I was sat at my desk and I had the most amazing idea. It was one of the things that brought in like a 3K deal. So all of that being said, whilst I don't think you can manifest yourself out of a really poor situation just by thinking, and it shouldn't be used as a tool of like, well, just figure it out.
Yeah.
I do believe in it, and I do believe that it's about the way that it then makes you act. It's a way of thinking that then makes you act differently.
So it's like your trigger to become into that growth and abundance mindset that
Exactly.
you need to be able to generate that return.
Yeah.
I think you see it all the time. Like, you know, like you see the stories of like these kids from literally like the deep ghetto.
Yes.
And suddenly, you know, they're running for office, or they've gone on to be CEO of
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z, or the best stock trader, or
Yeah.
whatever that may be. You see, I mean, there's literally films on this stuff as well of real people, and what they've done is exactly that. I'm going to be that person,
Yeah.
and then that's it. They're so focused on that goal. I think some people struggle with the other side because they're like, well, life's kind of cushy.
Yeah.
Life's all right, man.
Yeah.
Paid 40 grand, go on a couple of days a year.
Yeah.
You know, rent's paid or mortgage is paid. Like, we're all right. But then they get this like thing and they're like, oh, is it really enough?
Yeah.
I'm sure you get this quite a bit. Like, what would you suggest to someone that's in that frame of mind right now?
I think if you right now are working a 9 to 5, you have a nice salary, you take a couple of holidays a year, and you're like, things are good. But there is a niggle inside of you that is like, is there more to life? Explore it. Don't, you know, what's that phrase? Don't chuck the baby out with the bathwater. Like, don't be like, well, I've just got to quit my job and like go do. No, just take a minute. Get quiet. Is it everything I'm seeing on social media is making me think that I should be earning more money and that I should be running my own business? Because not everybody should be business owners. The challenges are real.
Mate, it's wild. It's real.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I've got way more grey hairs than I used to.
Way more sleepless nights than you think. But if it's like more of like, oh, I'm not happy in, the fact I spend so much time at work and I'm not happy with what I'm doing on a day-to-day, or there's something else I want, or whatever it is, just explore it and get curious. And I'm a big believer that if you have been given a dream, you've been given it for a reason. Like, it is achievable. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Doesn't mean it's not going to take you 40 years to get there, but you can have it. So it's that balance of not society and the trends that are going on online shift you into thinking that you're not happy.
Yeah.
Because money's not the thing that's going to make you happy, whilst it helps. But it's about fulfillment as well. Like, I was chatting to my best friend the other day, and we've got somebody coming over in a couple of weeks, and I was like, who's that guy? She was like, oh, he's amazing. He used to work for, I think, a tech platform, and he was doing like a tech job, and he was making like 200 grand a year.
Nice.
Lovely, right? Everyone's like, oh my God, this job's amazing. It's quite cushy. You can work from home. He wasn't happy. Right. And he had that moment where he was like, for me, the money isn't worth it. Now, obviously, I don't know the ins and outs. I'm sure he might have investments and a bit more financial security, and he probably wasn't living paycheck to paycheck. But he ended up quitting his job, and he now works with children that have special needs.
Oh, lovely.
25%, of his salary from before. And he loves it. He is so happy. And he's engineered a life for himself where he's, still able to do nice things. But I think, that's obviously a backward story of having money and going to less. But if you feel like there's more out there, like, I just think the first part is awareness, honesty, curiosity, and knowing that you have time.
Yeah.
Like, if you're in your 30s, if you're in your 40s, like, you can start a business or change your career, or change your life at any point. You haven't run out of time. I think that's really important.
Are you ready to take your first steps into investing? We're thrilled to partner with Trading 212, the app that makes investing accessible and straightforward for everyone. With Trading 212, you can open a stocks and shares ISA that's packed with features, zero commission on your investments, industry low FX fees, and access to thousands of ETFs, funds, and individual stocks from markets all over the world. The app is incredibly intuitive, designed to help you invest with confidence, whether you're a total beginner or already a pro. Trading 212 is FCA regulated, and the client's funds are protected by FSCS protection. Honestly, I am such a fan of how easy it is to use that I've started recommending it to friends who are new to investing themselves. It's simple and secure, and it gives you all the tools you need to build your portfolio. And here's the best part. Right now, Trading 212 is offering you guys a free fractional share worth up to £100 when you sign up and deposit just £1. To grab this offer, head to the link in the show notes or use the code MGP when signing up. As always, remember your capital is at risk when investing. ISA rules and T's and C's and other fees may apply. So why wait? Start building your future with Trading 212 today. And now back to the episode. You're so right. Like I think in America, the average successful business owner starts the business at 54.
Great stat.
Just like,
that's crazy.
Chill out, man.
Yeah.
You're still learning. You're still a baby in real terms.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much ahead of you. And I think we do get swept up in this. Like, I think you made such a great point there. It's like, do I actually want that thing?
Yeah.
Or am I being socially conditioned to tell me that I need that thing? And understanding that about yourself is hard. It's not easy to look inward. No one enjoys it. Like, we did this workshop on the weekend, and one of the first exercises was to step out of your comfort zone. And you know me, I love a chat, and I normally totally fine. But then you had to tell the people in the group what was that one thing that was special about you. And I just went, and I was like, can I go next? And then I just kept saying, can I go next? Can I go next? I just couldn't do it. And I don't know what it was. So it is difficult to look inwards. And then eventually I just sort of threw something out there just to get people off my back. but like, it's not easy. And so, we do empathize with that. But, looking inwards and try and find something that you're going to be doing, because it is going to pay a massive, like, if it is a change of job, if it is I don't want to be doing this, or I want to spend more time with the kids, that's going to pay off both spiritually and financially in the long run for you, just because you're going to be so much happier as a person. Now, there is a lot of this kind of like save, invest. And like, I'm certainly a part of that wheel sometimes my own self. And I think it can like be the wrong message to people, because they feel like, they hear like, oh, save 10% of your salary, or save 20, invest 20% of your salary, whatever that might well be. And yeah, to definitely do that. But you think differently about this, and I really love your take on it. And it's about conscious spending. And you think that's just as important. Why?
So I think it's about saving and investing is so important for financial stability, financial success, financial freedom. Where I think the trap is the extremes. Saving and investing too much and not enjoying your money. So it's about balance and about intentionality. So intentionality being you are spending your money in a way that brings you joy, you are mindful of, it is taking you closer to your goals, or it's in alignment with your values, or it's creating memories and experiences. That's being intentional, right? If you're not being intentional, it's like tap, 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 the random things, you know, the social conditioning that makes you think you need these things. We're not talking about that. We want that spending that is like makes you feel good. And
that was worth it.
Was worth it.
Yeah.
Was worth it. Because a lot of the time we're not tapped into being mindful, being conscious, because we're all busy going about our days on autopilot, commute to work, lunch, right? Convenience, all of those things. So really being able to be intentional with, I work hard, I'm making money, I deserve to enjoy some of it. And I think the balance side is saving and investing is important. Like if you just spend everything and you're living paycheck to paycheck, you'll work forever, you'll be stressed, you'll have money worries, anything could happen at any point. So the people who are in the place of being on the extreme of saving and investing, the saving side of it, if you are saving for a goal and you say, look, I'm going in hard saving because in 3 years I am going to go to South America and have the trip of a lifetime, that is just delayed spending. And the spending is going to be intentional. So it's like, okay, I'm in my saving era. And I think that that's great. You know, maybe you have a small amount that you spend, but the saving, there is actually a goal for it. Where I think it's more dangerous is when either you're like, I don't really have a goal, I'm just saving. I'm just saving and saving, and you're scared to touch any of that money, and you are guilty. You feel guilty for spending your own money. And when you're investing for the future, for your retirement, but you don't know what that number is, you don't know what that age is, you don't know what that looks like. Because what happens is when you get to said number or said age, what makes you think that you are suddenly going to wake up one day with a flipped mindset and go, oh, great, I can start spending and enjoying this money now.
Turning the tap on.
Because you're going to have had 20, 30 years of habitual saving and investing. You're just going to be sat on a gold mine. You've got all this money, you've got all this asset, maybe you've got property, you've got stocks, all of the things.
But bugger all experiences.
No stories. At that point, you know, naturally your health and your time diminishes. What, you know, how have you changed and grown as a person and done things at certain points in your life? But also this idea of like knowing when to draw down on that money. And like, for me, my mindset changed when I read How to Die with Zero by Bill Perkins.
Yes.
Hands down, one of my favourite books.
I've not read it, but I've been suggested by so many people.
It's so good. Because caveat to all of this, I think like saving and investing is so important. I talk about it on my page. I think, you know, all of that, but it's the extremes that are the issue.
Yeah.
When you're doing too much of one thing. It's okay to be in an era of, I know for this year or next year, but really just knowing that all three have an important place in your financial plan to be financially successful, but also to enjoy your life.
Yeah,
that's important.
Like I have a non-negotiable 15% of like, I'm blowing this.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Like this month.
Yeah.
It's going.
Love that.
And just like, if we don't do things, then I'll like book us out a dinner, or like I'll go and treat myself to a farm shop or whatever, like things. There's little things, and I'm like, just get rid of it. Because it's there for me to enjoy myself. If I've just locked myself away working 24/7, which, you know, I can be a culprit for every now and then.
Can't we all?
Yeah. You know, I have to be intentional about getting out and doing things which are adding value to me, which I think is massively important, alongside saving, alongside investing, and alongside my bills and making sure they're all paid. Yeah.
And I think what I will say, two things. One, there is, I wish I could remember the stat. It's really good to once a month, do a novelty experience, something that
Okay.
helps you feel the emotion of awe or creativity or like newness, something that, I don't know another word for newness.
Pushes your boundaries.
Pushes your boundaries, gets you out of your comfort zone, or things that like you've always wanted to do and you've just never done. You're like, I want to go to a pottery class, or I want whatever.
Yeah.
So that can be amazing for your mental health and for just your own personal growth. It doesn't have to be expensive, but I'm a big believer of spending on experiences versus things, not anti things, but you know, like finding the things that bring you joy. And I think a lot of the time when I chat with people, especially that fall into the camp of feeling guilty around spending and they're like big savers and investors, they don't know what they like. They don't know what brings them joy. They don't know what, and they restrict themselves so much that like nothing is enjoyable because the fear of the spending side takes over. So having a fun fund where you say this money is going on something, and if you know like, oh, I know that this money is going on said novelty experience, I'm working towards something. It's not just some random purchase. But to add to that as well, if you are listening to this and you're like, hang on, you want me to spend, you want me to save, you want me to invest, like I've also got to pay my bills. I also have to do
I've also got kids.
I've got kids.
Yeah.
I've got things to pay for, like it feels overwhelming. I think what can be a really great thing to do is not feel like the spending, saving, investing has to be large amounts. You could, if you look at your budget and you're like, okay, I've got, £400 left over to do everything after all my bills. Like I'm trying to work on increasing my income or getting a new job, but that's where I'm at right now. You could say, okay, 50 quid goes in savings, 50 quid goes in investments, 50 quid is like on like fun experiences, and the remaining, 150 is going to be like my food bill, my travel, or whatever. That's not the right math, but you know what I mean. I think it's more about finding the small things as opposed to feeling like it has to be all or nothing.
Yeah, totally. Like you just hit the nail on the head. Like absolutely. Because investing, you could be putting 5 quid in there. It's like, okay, cool. And also you're like going to go through different seasons of life where you might have kids. So it is more expensive right now. And then when they bugger off to university, suddenly you're a little bit more flush or, whatever. You might get a better pay rise in your job. Suddenly you're a bit more flush. So you can put some more money into your savings investments, or like those buffers can change, but they're going to get restricted at certain points of life and they're going to grow, which is really, really important. Something you said there is about a budget. And I'm not a budgeter. I really struggle with it. Just looking at like every month, writing everything down. What I do is I create like a conscious spending plan. So I just look at my spending overall over a period of time and then go, you're being a knob on those things. And I really want to move money into this because it's going to provide me more value. Now, I know a lot of people like budgets. A lot of people don't. What's your view on it and how can people approach it?
So I'm not anti-budget. I'm anti-boring budget.
Yeah.
And I'm anti-doing something that doesn't work for you. I'm a big believer in spending plans. Like I actually use like in all my content and like all my freebies, it always says like spending plan, especially because people attach so much negativity to the word budget.
Yes.
It's frugal, it's tight, it's restrictive. So first of all, it's just a reframe, like it's a spending plan. But then you have the range, right? Like you could go all in and every penny has a purpose, different categories, different pots. You track your spending throughout the month by writing it all down. You could be really like, or you go, I need to have a bit more freedom with it. You still need to know where your money is going.
Yeah.
I think that is like the most important thing. You still need to know, where am I spending? Am I putting money in savings and investments? Do I have debt that I need to clear? Are my bills being paid? So viewing it as I am just making a conscious choice about where I want my money to go. What helped me with my shift in when it came to like having a spending plan was just using different spending accounts. So like start of the month, looking at what's coming in and being able to say, I know this much needs to go on fixed. That stays in that account.
Yeah.
I know I would like to put towards financial success, this, and this. And then this is what's for spending. And I talk it I call it the 3 S's of successful money management.
Oh, nice.
So survival, spending, and success.
Oh, that's cool.
Survival is your living costs. Spending is like just your general like enjoyment of the month, and then success is savings, investments, and debt. And it gives you like the empowerment of, I know where my money's going, I'm making the choices, but the flexibility to like just put the spending money onto a spending card and then tap, tap, tap. But just keep, that's why apps and technology is so good, because you just go, oh, this is where I'm out of my budget today.
Yeah. But also really bad as well, because it's so easy to just like, oh, let me just send 20 quid,
tap, tap.
20 quid, tap, tap.
Yeah.
And like, that's where it becomes a problem. That's why I think, we have a similar system, 3 bank system. So exactly the same thing. We're just not as named nicely. We just call them banks.
Yeah, banks.
Which I really
coined
like.
that term.
Yeah, because it's a mindset thing as well. Like you want to give it, this is your spending account, this is your bills account, and this is your savings account. When the money comes in, savings go first, and then your fixed bills, and then whatever's left over, guess what? That's your money now to then run your life. Like, and everything else should be ticking over. Your bills are paid, your savings and investments are moving, your debts are going down, and this is your money left over. Mm-hmm. And that should stop you dipping into credit, hopefully, as well. Now, you mentioned it before, and money mindset has become a bit of a buzzword. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, it can mean so many things at different times. It has so many different connotations to different people. What for you, what does that actually stand for?
So for me, your money mindset is the foundation to your financial success. And your money mindset is essentially just a bunch of beliefs and attitudes. So you're thinking about money that then drives the way that you manage it, spend it, save it. So essentially, this idea of how you think about money is how you will then behave with money. Mm-hmm. So your money mindset is what creates your reality with money. And that's why it's so important to be in touch with it. And I think the key thing is that it looks different for everybody in regards to everybody has a different money mindset. There's a lot of themes and patterns you see with different people and just generally, but this idea that
what do you mean? Like he's a spender, he's a saver? Yeah,
so that's, your self-identity and your self-concept is one element of that, because if you view yourself as I am a saver, I am a spender, but then themes and patterns, different blocks and beliefs that people have in society, like money is evil, money makes you greedy, those kind of things, like societal beliefs, especially the difference between the UK and the US, as an example. But then also just things that people internalize from their own money story. So I talk a lot about your money story being the impact that your childhood had on your core memories of money, which then impacts how you then behave with money when you're older. And it's different for everyone. But that's for me, it's essentially your thinking around money that creates your reality with it.
Yeah, it's like your money habits formed by the age of 7.
Crazy.
Just nuts. Like, where are you getting that from? Your mum and dad, isn't it?
Well, we absorb the messages from people closest to us. Before language was created, you couldn't communicate. So it would be off of emotion and body language and all the non-verbal cues. Now we also have language, so what you're hearing and what you're reading is also added into that. But when you're younger, you just take everything to be true.
Yeah, you're like a sponge.
You're like a sponge. You're like, give me the knowledge.
Yeah, totally.
And then before you know it, you're 7 and you think money's the worst thing ever, and you've got to unpick it all.
Yeah, need some money therapy. That's why you're here.
That's why I'm here. It is like therapy.
I think you mentioned something there which I think is really important, like this, money is evil, and this essentially a limiting belief around actually growing your money. Perhaps you push it away from yourself, or you don't believe you can hit X goal because you're not that type of person, or I grew up here, so why could I now live or be that person over there?
Yeah.
How do people kind of associate a limiting belief to themselves? How do they understand that that's exactly what they think, and how can they change it?
So I guess the key thing, first of all, if you're trying to identify what are my limiting beliefs around money, understanding what language do I use, what phrases have I always said, what things have I always, when I think about money, when I think about saving, when I think about spending, what comes up? And then, is that helping or hindering me? Is that objectively true? Is that actually real? I feel like money is hard to make, but is that actually true if there are other people out in the world really easily making money? Well, the answer is no. Is that belief helping me? No, because what that's going to mean is I act in alignment with that. So you can tell just with like the words used, whether it's positive, whether it's negative. And even if you believe something to be so true, like it feels so true for you, being able to get honest and be like, is this actually helping me? We all know we can all be honest and be like, probably not.
Yeah.
So I think you can identify your beliefs that way. And like, there are layers. Sometimes it's the way that you think about yourself that then creates a certain limiting belief around your own worthiness or deservingness of money. Sometimes it's how you think money works in the world and in society. There's sometimes it's related to your own behaviors. So like the whole I'm a saver, I'm a spender. It can show up in so many ways. But I think being able to understand what stories have I always told myself about money? How has that impacted me, like genuinely, both the positive and the negative? Because sometimes those beliefs actually keep you safe. And then you can rewrite your story, create new beliefs, start to think differently. But it's that thing of identify it first, and then you can do something about it.
Yeah, you're so right. Like, I know I treat money like it will come back.
Yeah.
I just like, it will always come back. And just
abundant mindset.
Yeah, no, but that in itself is also has its positives and negatives.
Exactly.
Because then the money that comes in, unless I do something with it straight away, usually it like goes.
Yeah.
And so that sometimes when I'm like, oh yeah, it'll be fine. Like you get that sort of mentality, and that isn't always a strong mentality.
Yeah.
Even though you're okay and you could go and draw some money down from savings, but you don't want to do that because it's going towards another goal.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I'm just like, I'll be right.
In that instance, right, if your belief is money comes and it goes, it'll always come back to me, and it has had positive, consequences. It has always come back. It makes you feel a bit lighter about money. It makes you feel, but the dark side to that, because there's always a shadow side to the sun, right?
Yes.
Okay, how might that be hindering me right now? If you were sat down and you were sat with your partner and you're like, I've been overspending, I'm feeling really overwhelmed by money, I've set myself these goals and I'm nowhere near them, then you would go, okay, right now, the way that phrase, money comes and it goes easily, you go, it's probably not actually helping me. Maybe what I need to start saying is, I trust that money comes and goes, but I'm also intentional and I'm working towards my goals, right? You add bits into your thinking. You don't necessarily have to get rid of it. So it's only a problem if it's causing you problems, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But
I think in the past it definitely did. Now is it like, okay, but like, again, seasons of life. Like, it may end up causing me problems again in 5 years' time. But now I'm just aware of it.
And you just deal with it then.
Yeah.
You go, oh, that's how, just the same as like the whole, I'm not very good at organising. Well, actually, you probably are, because you've got your 3 bank accounting system. Yeah. You've got a way of organising that actually works for you. I think it's so easy to, like some of the things, what did I say to my house?
Because we're not perfect, isn't it?
We're not perfect,
like,
but I can't do this, but I can't do that. And obviously like that's fine. But being aware of the things that you say that come after I am, that's how you self-identify. You've labelled yourself.
Yeah.
And then it's like, is that actually true? Or if it is true, can I reframe it? That like the power of language to me and the power of our brains is so crazy. I get so hyped up talking about it because I'm like, it's actually mad that with just a change in language, you can start to change your entire self-identity and therefore your behaviour. Crazy.
Yeah, no, it is. Do you know what? It's really helped like communicating with my partner about these things.
Yeah.
Because now she's like aware of those things.
Yeah.
And will like check in with me a little bit on some of them and vice versa.
Bit of
to
accountability.
hers. Yeah, so it's like a little accountability partner with money, which has been really healthy because like we're trying to do the, save for the house things and, save for the furniture inside the new house or whatever. And it's like, just being aligned on those things and making sure they're done. And then she's like, okay, like, go play golf now or do whatever you want to do. Like, it's your money. Like, you can do it. And it, even though, some people struggle with that, just even the slight conversations around money with the people around you are just so important.
So important. I think as well, like when you can talk to anyone, like partners, friends, family about money, you realise how often people are thinking the opposite thing in regards to what they're like, how they're coming across.
Yeah.
For example, like somebody who you think is really good with money is like, oh, I've actually got debt. Oh, I've actually I'm actually awful at saving, whatever it is. And I think it's this thing of we have to stop assuming that everybody else around us is doing better and just be like, I'm on my own lane. I'm working towards X, Y, and Z. All I need to focus on is how I'm behaving, how I'm acting. And also that just as, especially in the UK, like as humans, naturally we have things that no one's perfect.
Yeah.
No one's perfect with their money.
Oh my God. Like the stats are like, you see those like you're not behind.
Yeah.
Things like the stats about money. Blows my mind.
Yeah, crazy.
It's like 1 in 3, less than £100. It's like, it's crazy.
It's
like
crazy.
Less than £1,000, I think it's even more. And then it's like most Brits have like £1,000 or more in credit card debt. It's like, oh, okay. Well, if I'm doing any better than that, then I'm way over average.
Yeah.
And like, I think we should just be a little less hard on ourselves when it comes to this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Because it is like I try and soften my messaging sometimes because I know, obviously I put up the post like, be a millionaire or make your kids a millionaire. And people are like, well, I haven't got 100 quid.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you have to be conscious to that. But yeah, like, I just think people should definitely chill out a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that's massively important is actually knowing where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
And like when you leave the house, you know where you're going, you've got a destination. But often we don't treat money the same, but you do. And you were very intentional when you were younger, saving towards a goal. And then you did a full 180. And I love the fact that you talked about this on LinkedIn the other day and you were really open and honest about it. And I just think it's really important to discuss like how, yes, you might have a goal, but you can also be super flexible. So if something else comes up, you're not like, oh, I can't do that because it doesn't meet my goal.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Explain.
Yeah.
So for anyone who doesn't know, when I was 19, I saved £15,000 with the plan to go to drama school. And then 2 weeks before I started my drama school course, 2 of my best friends asked me to go travelling with them. And I ended up deferring my place at drama school, going travelling, spending all the money. And I was so fortunate that I had worked hard with that goal in mind to then have the money. The initial goal of drama school was so motivating for me emotionally. That is what made me budget, made me track my money, say no to things. Like I was laser focused. And then right before it was about to happen, this other thing popped up and I was able to make the decision, based on which one I could afford, I was able to make the decision based on which one I wanted, not just which one I could afford. And I think it's important that you have a goal and you know where you're headed so that you can at least go, oh, this is what I'm working towards. This is why I'm able to stay motivated and focused. But really just know that life can throw curveballs at you and expectations are, the whole like expectations are not great when you really attach yourself to them. You have to be open and fluid. And if you have a bunch of money there that had an initial plan that you were going to use it for and something else crops up, like I'm a big believer sometimes the universe puts things in your path for a reason and you don't want to potentially run the risk of stopping yourself from experiencing something that could be amazing just because, this money was actually meant for that. Now, obviously, caveat to that, if you are saving for a house with your partner and it's like half and half, and then someone's like, yo, you want to come away with me? And then you're like, peace out. Like,
I'll be the baby.
Yeah. You probably need to like be aware of the consequences.
Yeah.
The consequence for me when I use that money for traveling and not for drama school is I would be starting from scratch. I wouldn't be able to just go to drama school like I'd originally planned. That was something I had to deal with. But at the ripe age of 22, when I was sat, really trying to decide what to do, whatever my gut, my wisdom, I didn't know why logically, but I just knew that traveling was the thing.
Right,
it was the right decision. And then whilst, not only did I have the most amazing time and did it change me as a person, it ignited my love for travel. And it also made me realize, I've actually been lying to myself the last couple of years. I actually don't want to go to drama school as much as I realized.
Yeah.
So there's so many things that can crop up in that process. But I think, there's a phrase that says, aim for the stars and you might hit the moon or something like that.
Oh yeah, nice.
Like, did you like that?
Yeah,
Was that
I loved
what it
it.
was?
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's similar.
Yeah.
But like, there's nothing bad with saving for one goal and then knowing it's going to be something else.
Yeah.
Or, you know, having that opportunity.
But interesting, like what you say there, and I don't think what you did is gave yourself the option and choice
Yes.
by having some of that money there. So you could make that decision.
Exactly.
So if your goal changed, whereas if you hadn't have got your goal or you ever have strived for a goal, you would have never have been able to make that decision.
Yeah.
And you just went with the one which provided you more value in that time.
Exactly.
And I'm sure it was because, you know, travel and experiences there is like the school of life, isn't it? Like it just opens your horizons.
Yeah.
I'm on track to have over £5.5 million in retirement. And I'm not saying this to brag, guys. I'm saying this because I am an everyday person just like you. So what does that actually mean? Well, it means that it's actually possible for you to build life-changing wealth too, no matter where you're at on your journey, your age, your knowledge, or even your current financial situation. So Sammy, how do I sort that out? Well, I've created something super cool, which literally takes 1 minute of your time. I've left a link in the show notes to a free money personality quiz, which will provide you guys with a free tailored content plan based exactly where you're at on your financial journey. Once you filled it out, you're sent the steps to start getting you results from day one. And then once you're ready, you can then move up to the next step very easily too. It's not judgy in any way. It's totally free to do. And it's actually really good fun too. Simply head down to the show notes and click the link there where it says to do the quiz and get your free money action plan right now. Now back to the show.
And I always think like you can only do and act from a place of what you know at that moment in time.
Yeah.
So, you know, like when something happens and then someone looks back and is like, oh, shouldn't have done that. And the phrase, hindsight is a beautiful thing. And you say you only acted upon using the information that you had at that moment in time. It's the same with saving. You can set yourself a goal. That could be great because you can end up then with savings and money in the bank, financial security. Any opportunities crop up at any point. And what I was really grateful for myself was to say, wow, I'm so glad I had that money there, that when that opportunity cropped up, I was able to grab it with both hands. That's what having money saved can do. Like you get to take these opportunities where you're not able to maybe pay for said experience or said thing from just one paycheck. And it's like you do need a larger chunk. It's like you set yourself up for being able to have bigger and greater experiences when they crop up by having that there and being flexible with what your goal might be.
Yeah, totally. I think it's like a difficult thing for people to like even say, oh, I definitely want to do that.
Yeah.
For people that struggle with goals, do you feel like it's good to have like multiple goals and move them forwards at different points? Or do you feel like it's good to just say, I'm going to go for one thing?
I think it depends what the multiple goals are, in the way of like, if you've just picked a bunch, like, why is it you struggle with goal setting? Is it because you actually don't, there's like some self-worth stuff there and you don't actually think you can have the things you dream of? Because then that's a whole nother story. Or is it where you're like, I don't really know what I want from my life? And then if you fall into that camp and it's like, well, I can't set goals because I don't actually know what I'm working towards, you're always going to need money for something at some point. But you could use the next year to like try and experiment and like, oh, I'm going to try this and see how that feels. And like learn more about yourself. I think we fall into this place where when we don't give ourselves enough attention, we're always looking for distraction and looking for something external to us. But actually it's really important. Like the only person you are with for the rest of your life is yourself.
Yeah.
Right? It's good to know what you do and don't like, what you do and don't want. And I think that, you know, when it comes to goal setting, all it is you just saying, I'm going to work towards this thing that I think is going to make me happy, right? But there's stats that show our brains can't actually work out what's going to make us happy in the future. And that's why the flexibility part is so important.
Yes,
set yourself a goal, and if it changes, change it with it.
Yeah, 100%. It's like more than 5 years. You can't know that person in 30 years.
Yeah.
Like, so why am I doing this for that person? What I've been saying recently is just like, you know, does that person want to be quids in or does that person not? Like, and the answer is always yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. So like, if we just clear that bit up, that's why you do it.
Yeah.
Who you end up being in 30 years is up to you.
Yeah.
But you'd rather be okay with money when you do get to that point.
Yeah. You're always going to want to have money. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I also think with goals, like I'm a big goal setter. I have
short term, long term.
More short term, like over the next year, I would like to achieve.
Yes,
right.
So I'm meticulous about short
term goals.
Yeah.
If you ask me what I want in 5 years, I kind of
ain't got a Scooby.
I ain't got a Scooby because I can imagine my life in so many different ways. I could imagine myself with kids. I could imagine myself without kids. I could imagine myself traveling loads with work, but I could also imagine myself being settled down in Ibiza. I could I am that person that wants to live all the lives. I want to be the girl that surfs down by the coast, but then I also want to be the girl that owns a cute little coffee shop and a bookstore. But then I'm also the girl that wants to like travel the world speaking on stages. I want it all, right? And I know I can't have it all. So I try to actually keep it more open. What I do is go, what am I feeling now? What feels alive and magic for me right now? And then the year goals that I set is more so that I have clarity for my year. But I'm, again, open to like changing. But I have like financial goals, business goals, spiritual goals. I have like goals within the section of fun and play, because I think it's so easy to set yourself goals, make this much money, get this many followers. What about your fun? What about the play? What about your adventure? So allowing yourself, for me, this works for me, having goals in those areas. I'm going to book one hike a month. I am going to make sure, by the summer, I want to be doing an hour of DJing a day, like little doing things.
Did you buy decks?
I've been doing DJing last year. Last year I got a couple of gigs.
Did you?
This is a great lesson in manifestation, actually.
Okay.
So a big part of manifestation is detachment.
Is it like I'm going to be like playing Pasha?
I'm going to be in Ibiza, yeah. Big part of manifestation is detachment. So when you get clear on what you want and you're working towards it and you're taking action, not being like, has to happen in this way, you can manifest things in crazy wild ways. That's where, the coincidences and the synchronicities. Anyway, detachment. I always knew that I wanted to do something to do with music, just for fun. I love music.
Seen you singing on stages.
I love it.
Yeah.
So then I met a couple of DJs in my time. I always seem to make friends with DJs. And I was like, do you know what? I think I should do a bit of DJing. So 2023, I thought about it, never did anything with it. The end of 2023, I bought my decks because it was on the goals for the year. And I was like, I haven't done it yet. If I buy the decks, it makes me feel a bit better. Last year, I just went in doing it for fun. I was like, it brings me joy. It's an activity away from work where I don't have to socialize and I can just be like zoned in. You're learning a new skill. It's expanding my mind, all of the things. And I was very much like, oh, it'd be so cool if in like 5 years I could like headline at Ibiza, right? But I've kept it open and free. Last year, I ended up getting 4 DJ gigs, 2 of which were paid for. Like, it just happened by me doing the work and being detached from the outcome. Like, the gigs just came. And I had people be like, well, how long have you been doing this for? And I'm like, a couple of months. I'm good at it. But also and because I talk to people, I've been DJing on the side and it's casual and it's relaxed and they can see the energy and the excitement. They then think, oh, Laura's a DJ. I want crazy.
Because you're like having those conversations. You just let someone know and they're like, oh yeah, Laura does that thing.
Yeah. And if somebody has said, oh, I'm always looking for DJs. I'm not then, I've followed up and gone, by the way, here's my number if you ever need any DJs.
Yeah, just cash.
But I'm not like, hey, got any DJ jobs? Hey, I've really been wanting to do some,
Yeah.
So it's like you can come out with this fun and open energy. And my DJing career is kicking off.
Talk to me about what style of music this is.
So right now I'm figuring out what I like. I fall into the camp of, there's 3 different camps. Techno and house.
Okay.
I love to DJ because it's the way the beat drops are. You can get really technical.
4x4s is
classic.
Yeah.
Love that. And I love going to like house music and techno, like raves and gigs. So that old school and like R&B kind of vibes where it would be like a Sunday morning and you like want to chill or like you're with your mates and like Lauryn Hill and like, that kind of stuff where when you mix it, you can mix it a bit.
Bobby Valentino. Sorry.
Give him a mic. But it's more like kind of like head bopping music where people are a little bit like, oh, this is a jam. One of those. And then like girl pop where you're at like, you want to just scream like Avril Lavigne and like Britney Spears and it is getting the like, what's the word? Dance floor fillers.
Yeah.
So
can't
different
not sing.
things. You can't not. You're like, what? Foundations, like all the lot. So yeah, I'm very much like I haven't assigned myself to a genre because currently I'm able to do all of them. And you realise
Just like playing bangers, basically.
just banger after banger. But you got to feel the vibe of the crowd.
Yeah.
Oh, they need a
love
minute.
I love DJing. I'm more of a selector than a mix. I don't mix.
Okay, not okay.
So I just pure selector.
But you can play DJ.
Oh yeah. I mean, I used to DJ every Friday.
Love
different
that.
nights. Used to love it. Used to MC back in the day.
Oh
as
my
well.
God, go on, give us some.
Garage MC. Jacked heard a bit. It comes out. It comes out after a couple of rums of coke, basically.
Put your hands up.
Yeah, all of that. Yeah. Selector.
Oh my, scream if you want to go faster.
Well, we've definitely gone off on a tangent.
We've gone off on a tangent.
But I love that for you.
Watch this space. IB for 2029.
So we're making a manifestation live today.
Yeah.
Yeah. What we're going to do? IB for a set.
Ibiza. I want to be in Ibiza playing at a club or
this
something.
year.
No. Oh my God. Maybe. Who knows? 2029. Couple of years. Give me a couple of years.
That's 4 years.
Yeah.
I'm going to get. Can we?
You want to bring it down?
Yeah, because otherwise you'll give yourself. It will happen in 4 years if wherever you say it was 2.
Okay. 2027.
Yeah, a set in Ibiza.
Yeah.
It could be in the Holiday Inn, but but it's got to happen in Ibiza.
Let's not push it. No, yeah.
But then you're giving yourself a goal.
Yeah.
All right, Vice. I love this.
You heard it here first.
Okay. All right.
And then here's what's going to happen. When I'm playing, there'll be a screen behind me and we'll play this clip.
Love it. Love it. I'm coming, by the way.
Please do.
Yeah.
But what I want this to be a lesson for people, for people, is I love my job and I'm so passionate about helping people to think differently about money, and it is my baby and I give it so much. It is also important to have things outside of that. Now, obviously, I accidentally monetized this as a side hustle. I was just kind of keeping it as like a thing for fun. You don't have to monetize all your side hustles, but you can be a multifaceted person. And I think in a world of social media where you're constantly told to niche down, whilst that in itself can be great, I love showing people all the sides of me. And I think that's a big part of the money content I make. It's like, money's amazing because it allows you to do this. Money's amazing because you can save for these things you care about, right? It's not the money that's the goal. It's what that money's going to do for you. Having money allowed me to buy DJ decks and to explore that area, right?
Show
so it's all of those things.
kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I love that. And you're so open on social media about like what you get up to, and you're like, hey, this is my new goal and I'm doing this. And then actually I've decided to do this.
Yeah.
And like, I think it's just really nice to see because, you know, a lot of the financial advisor, influencer type thing is like, you know, this is how you can do X, Y, and Z, and this is how you do this. But it's like, who are you, man?
Who are you?
What are you up to?
Share.
Yeah.
And I think what can happen easily for young people and just people in general is this idea of avoiding financial education and looking at their money and learning because it gets put under the category of like boring, don't need to know that. I would rather be someone who's creative and someone who like is a good friend and someone who has, it's like, you can have both. You can be good at your money and good with your money and be financially successful and still be all these other things in your life. If anything, if you can do this in a way that works for you, it allows you to be more of this.
Yeah, you're so right. Because like, it's some of the, we've had like, it was a bit of a weird week last week. We had Ben Francis, and then, which was amazing. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Ben Francis followed, yeah.
What, in the studio?
Yeah, no, no, not in the podcast. I'm trying. It's coming. I'm trying for Ben, but like he followed, but then we got, all of a sudden we had like all of these actors and creatives come through. Yeah. Because they come up once they've got like certain number of followers, they see them at the top, and I was like, wow. And I remember seeing this person, and then they start messaging you, and you have the conversation around it, and they're like, oh, you know, I really just want to get my money in order. Yeah. So they're still doing the creative things. They're still out there doing the things. And then I was speaking to Leo Gregory as well, who's, if you remember Leo Gregory, you'll know him by face. He was in like Football Factory and all of those types of things.
Person.
Yeah.
Second I don't know someone, I'm like, football. The
Business, like all the classic sort of like blokey films from the 90s and early 2000s. He's in all of them.
Oh, he's an actor?
Yeah, he's an actor.
Oh, look at me, I thought he was a footballer.
No,
I was like, football, I don't know.
But in the football,
he's not a woman in football, I don't want to know.
Really interestingly, like he's got his shit in order. and like has always had it in order.
Yeah.
So he's been doing the creative things on the side, and he just like spends a bit of time making his money secure. So you can, is exactly what the reason why I brought it up was because I just found it really interesting.
Yeah.
Like creative people can still have that and tap into that side of their brain, even though they know they're not good at it.
Yes. I am so, because I spent my younger life as an actress. I've got a lot of friends that are actresses, and I'm also a creative in so many different ways. But now I'm also a business owner. I love working for and with creatives. I'm working on something behind the scenes, a little bit of insider knowledge, specifically for creatives.
Cool.
Because I think that there can be a big, what's the word? I guess mindset or belief that like you have to be one or the other. Like I'm creative, I'm not good with my money. I'm creative. I do it for the love. It's like you can do it for the love and still make money and then be good with your money. So yeah, I'm working on something that hopefully will come out this year.
Oh, 2025.
Yeah. 2025.
Yeah, I love this for you. Manifestation again. Mate, I've loved this as always. I just literally love talking to you about money. I think we could just natter away forever. But where can people find you?
You can find me on the gram, the TikTok. Just as Laura Ann Moore, and then I'm on LinkedIn for the corps. I always say for the corporate people, but actually everybody's on there now.
I know, it's mad, isn't
it's crazy. And I also have a podcast, Mind Money Soul,
which is great, by the way.
Thank you.
I love your solo episodes. I think they're class.
I just released a couple of episodes of money mantra tracks.
Yes.
So you can listen over and over. And
the debt one was really good.
Thank you. Yeah, I've started part of my own money mindset ritual. I've been listening to my own mantra tracks on my own podcast. And I was like, is this kind of like narcissistic or a bit like this is, but I was like, this is perfect because I actually tell people if you want to have a mantra track, obviously listen to mine. I love that, you know, I've done the work. But if you want, you can record your own because listening to your own voice for that kind of stuff can be great. So I'm just like, I'm helping other people, but then I'm just like putting my podcast on. I'm like in bed like, listening to my
your
voice.
Own accountability partner, basically, in a way.
And I had a really beautiful message from somebody the other day saying I did a mantra track at the start of 2024 that was like make 2024 your best financial year. And the downloads are always higher because people come back and listen regularly. And this woman messaged me and she was like, I literally listen to it nearly every single day. I like tripled my income. I got rid of my debt. And she was like, not that it's just that, but it had such a big impact on how I viewed and then acted with money. And I was like,
you never know when you're going to be the trigger for someone. Exactly. Like even these things, it doesn't matter if you get 100 views or 1 million views. Yeah. If you affected 10 person or one person. One person.
But yeah,
one person is so important, right?
So impactful.
I love that for you. So definitely go and check out Laura's podcast. I will leave a link to that in the show notes for you. So hopefully people should go over there and give that a little listen for you. But mate, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Bye.